I'd like to call the Joint Internal Services and Finance Audit and Budget Committee's meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like a motion to adopt the agenda.
Romano adopts the agenda.
Support Perna.
Thank you. Commissioners Romano and Perna adopted and supported. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next is approval of the minutes for internal services from June 6th and for the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee from June 13th. I'd like a motion to approve both.
Support Nard.
Thank you. Commissioner Hahn Grott made the motion and seconded to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. We'll move to public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any item on today's agenda. There'll be a second opportunity for public participation later in the meeting for people to speak on any subject. Anyone from the public wish to speak on items in today's agenda? Anyone today's agenda? Seeing none, we'll close public participation and move to Internal Services Committee Department recommendations. The first item is Collection Service Agreement, Priority Waste for $51,747.36. Ben, you have the floor. Oh, excuse me.
I'll make the motion to refer to full
I'll
board.
support Nard.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hall and Romano to make the motion and support it. Ben?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Item 6A is waste disposal services for county facilities. We received 2 submissions, and the lowest qualified bidder was Priority Waste in the amount of $51,741.36. Priority Waste has previously held the disposal contract with really no issues since May 2020 till current day. And these funds come out of the 2023 operating budget.
Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 6B, a contract with Bernco Incorporated for masonry restoration project, $1,144,990. So I'd like a motion of move to full board.
Move to full board.
Support Zinner.
Thank you. Commissioner Romano and Zinner made the motion and seconded to move this item to full board. Ben?
Okay, item 6B is a building envelope or masonry restoration project for the Hall Road Vic Wertz warehouse, some people know it as. Project includes tuck pointing, some painting, model siding, full window replacement, east side door replacements, exterior stairs, stair railing, so pretty much anything on our building envelope. We also have to add an additional fire door on the west side of the building as required by fire code due to some distances within the facility. The project was bid publicly, and the lowest qualified bidder was Bernco Incorporated, in the amount of $1,144,900. It is also accounted for in the 2023 operating budget.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Thank you.
I'm missing a vote from Commissioner Perna. Thank you. Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 6C, agreements with Information Technology Management Agreement for third quarter 2023, $266,883.30. Also, M&J Technologies Maintenance and Support, $77,265. And People Driven Technology Maintenance and Support, $35,622.30. And lastly, Presidio Maintenance and Support, $153,996. I'd like a motion to move to full board.
So move, Ha.
Support Nard.
Thank you. Commissioner Ha and Nard made the motion and supported it to move this item to full board. Jacob?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is the regular maintenance items that I bring to you mostly every board meeting. We have Cisco WebEx licensing, as well as Cisco Flex licensing, and also FreshService for a total of $266,883. Maintenance agreements.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 6D, I'd like to take 6D and E together. Budget amendment, Information Technology Capital Improvement Fund, wireless access points replacement for $68,005.17. I'd like a motion to move to full board.
So moved by Nard.
Perna, support.
Thank you. Commissioners Nard and Grott made the motion and supported it to move this item to full board. Jaco?
This is for 50 wireless access points. It's end-of-life devices. We have to keep these devices up to date to make sure we don't have any security concerns, as you cannot update them once they are end-of-life. The request is for $68,005.17.
How many bidders did you have on this?
This was not bid out. We've been using these vendors for many, many years. We plan on later this year going out and do a partner bid to work with, vendors. But at this point in time, we've been doing this for a long time.
But later in the year, you're not replacing these access points again.
Not these ones.
That's
No.
on something else.
No, that's continuous purchasing that we do moving forward. And we are actually in the process of finishing up a security partner right now, which we will bring to the board in a month or two. And then once that one is done, we'll do this one.
Okay. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next is item 6F. I'd like to take F and G together. This is a budget amendment for information technology from the Capital Improvement Fund. Scan key system at Technical Services Building for $14,995 using Motor City Electric Technologies as the vendor.
Support.
Thank you. Was that Commissioner Kraft?
No, that was Sabatini.
Thank you. Commissioner Sabatini and Grote made the motion and seconded it to move this to full board. Jaco?
Commissioners, this is an ask for to implement Keyscan at Technical Services. Just to clarify, the $14,995 amount is because of cumulative spending that we've had with Motor City. This will make that office more secure. It will also help them to restrict access to specific doors in their building.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 6H, a budget amendment for capital improvement plan, Dell financing, PowerMax payment 5 of 5 for $329,562.24. I'd like a motion to move this to full board.
Support.
Thank you. Commissioner Kraft and Perna made the motion and supported it to move this item to full board. Jacob?
Commissioners, this is the final payment for our upgrade of our storage attached network. This was done in 2019. We had 5 payments at 0% interest, and this payment is the last one we are making on the system.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to turn the meeting over to the Chair of the Finance Audit and Budget Committee, Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Sickle. Next item is 8A and B. I'll take a motion to move these to full board. This is the purchase of two 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 regular cab pickups for senior services hotspots in the amount of $83,974, and also the purchase of two 1500 pickups as well for hotspots with refrigerator trucks for Meals on Wheels in the amount of $65,225,000.
So move, Haw.
Made by Haw, supported by Wallace.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Good. Okay, so today I am requesting approval to purchase 2 hot shots for Meals on Wheels. There are 2 different things. I need the cabin chassis from Todd Wenzel, and then the actual refrigerator unit is going to get upfit to that cabin chassis from Delivery Concepts. They're really the only company that does that, and they've been doing all of our hot shots since we've been doing the refrigerated trucks. So.
Okay. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, next item is 8C and D. I'll take a motion to recommend these to full board. This is a budget amendment for Freedom Hill Park Fund, repair of the Freedom Hill Park backhoe in the amount of $38,112.20.
Motion to move to full board.
Moved by Lucido, supported by Grote. Nicole?
I am requesting a budget amendment to move fund balance from 2022 to 2023 for the park fund in order to pay for the repairs on the Freedom Hill backhoe. This repair actually started off small, and then as they started digging into it, kind of got a little bit more extensive, which is why we didn't come request approval prior to it exceeding that amount. But now it's done, working, and it's far better than paying upwards of $300,000 for a new backhoe.
Commissioner Perna.
What are the repairs that need to be done?
So it started out as a hydraulic line leak, and then they tore it down. There was some problems with the transmission, and then more of the lines that connect to the transmission and the engine, and then the bucket on the backhoe. So as they tore it down, the parts and everything like that just...
Is that just because of wear and tear?
Yes. So it's not, it's actually a used machine that they acquired at Freedom Hill. So it's been around for quite a while. But like I said, a new one's around $300,000. So it was cheaper to repair this one for what it's used for there than it is to buy a new one.
Is there a maintenance agreement that we would save us if we had a maintenance agreement?
Unfortunately not, because it's so old, they won't do anything like that. So generally we can repair most of those in-house at vehicle maintenance, but this one was a little bit more extensive, so it needed to go to an outside repair. So they started it actually in the winter, so it was ready for spring. Well, that was our hope. It extended a little bit longer, so they just got it back.
If they do it now, is there a maintenance agreement moving forward?
No, because everything's fixed right now, they won't do any sort of maintenance agreement or warranty on it, because it is such an old machine. But just the regular maintenance and, like repair on it, you know, oil changes and hydraulic fluid and, you know, making sure everything's greased and working, which they do already do, which is why it's lasted so long.
Does the county maintain that, or we leave it up to them to tell us what we need to do? I mean, do we have somebody that's monitoring that?
Yes, I monitor it.
You monitor it?
Yep. So when he goes, it plugs into the system by run hours. So after so many hours, and then generally like once in the beginning of the year and then once at the end of the year, it gets a whole run through. So they know what's wrong with it. And then if something happens to the machine while he's actually using it, he'll call us and either have one of our guys go out, or we'll have it towed or driven to us for repair. And then if we can't fix it, then we outsource it, generally to AIS, because that's who we bought the machine from originally.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Romano?
Thank you, Chair. Hi.
Hi.
We let you go easy this time. You
I know.
wait till the end.
Thank you.
You know, when I picture a backhoe, I picture something that digs holes. I know we have something that removes snow, and I know something that that cuts grass. What does the backhoe do?
So a lot of their parking lot is gravel. They have to grade the whole entire parking lot. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's kind of on a hill, it's sloped. Obviously there's a lot of traffic through there, so there's constantly like ruts and holes. So they're constantly having to, you know, lay more stone or grade it out. Cutting down trees, things like that, to move all the heavy things that, you know, construction cones or those cement blocks that they use to create barriers and
Makes sense.
barricades.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Commissioner Van Sickle?
Thank you, Chair. Is that backhoe garaged on site at Freedom Hill?
I'm sorry?
Is it garaged, or stored,
Oh.
parked on site?
Yes.
So it's not transported or anything?
No.
And is
They
it
have their own little enclosed garage shed there.
is it only used by county employees?
Yes. Yes, there's one person who mans the grounds there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you.
Next- Thank you, Nicole. Next item is purchase of military service time for Stephen Baurhenn for 10 months. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
So move, Hall.
Support Romano.
Made by Haw, supported by Romano. Steve, do you want to speak on this item?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is a standard purchase request whereby employees are allowed to buy military service time toward their retirement credits, and it's equal to 5% of their monthly salary for each month that they purchase. So these come to you occasionally. This is just routine.
Thank you, Steve. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is the American Rescue Plan Fund Project items. First item is 9A. This is a budget amendment for the County Executive American Rescue Plan funding for the drainage districts in the amount of $40 million. I'm going to take a motion to recommend this to full board.
Support Zinner.
Made by Grote, supported by Zinner.
Yes, thank you.
I know we have Commissioner Miller here as well to answer any questions with her team. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, please vote.
Happens again.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, first part. Next part, 9B. And I know obviously we've been talking about these issues for quite some time. So next item is part of the same motion theoretically, but this is Resolution 2023-10443, approving the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Relief Funds subrecipient agreement with the drainage districts in the amount of $40 million. Need a motion to recommend this to full board.
So moved by Nard. Support.
Moved by Nard, supported by Grote. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
I think Candace is going unscathed again.
You may, Commissioner.
I just want to say thank you.
Commissioner, we'll just call the vote
Oh,
really
sorry.
quick.
Motion
I
passes
already
13 to
voted.
0.
There you go.
Okay. I just want to say thank you to all of you. It's a lot of money. I recognize that. But it is going to be well spent. In fact, I was just telling Commissioner Kraft, talking to Kip Walby this morning, he's getting the design already for the Jefferson pipe. I said, you know, we're not spending a penny of that until we get the vote here. But that's going to have a huge, that particular project is going to have a huge impact on our combined sewer overflow reductions down in, and obviously in Lake St. Clair and some of these other projects that we're going to be spending those funds on. Those of you that come to the drain board meetings know exactly what they are. And they are really, really important. They're transformative, which is, I think, was the whole intent of these ARPA monies. They really are. They're sort of generational changes in critical underground infrastructure. And water quality, and that's really sort of our mission statement. Water quality equals quality of life. And I just think it's a very important day for Macomb County to see our county board unanimously pass these kinds of dollars. As I say, I recognize how much money it is, and we're very appreciative. And I think the citizens, not only just now, but really, as I say, generationally, are going to be. It's really going to positively accrue to all of them in a big way. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you to you and your team for answering all of our questions related to it. Next item is 9C. This is a resolution 2023-10445, a resolution supporting fiscal year 2023 budget amendment for the Central Intake and Assessment Center capital project. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
Sorry.
Joe got in there quick.
Can't even finish saying what the actual motion is. So I have a
Suggestion, I guess.
okay. Well, we have a lot of motions here. So who made the initial motion?
Harold.
Harold made the motion.
Second. Joe made the motion.
Okay, so Commissioner Romano has made the motion. Commissioner Hawes supported that motion. Commissioner Wallace, I recognize you.
I wanted to just make a suggestion. First, in the first paragraph, it says state revenue by 50 million. That should be 40 million. And then where it says the general fund, my recommendation is to change that from 49 million to 25 million. If we take into consideration all the contingencies, I think that we would be able to do the 25 million and break it up throughout the year without too much worry and concern. So that is my suggestion.
Okay, do we have support for the
Point of order, Chair.
Yes.
I believe this first whereas was the original ask from the executive's office, so this part wouldn't change necessarily because this was what they originally had came to us for, and then the last be it further resolved is what we as the board are actually approving, correct?
Yeah, and we have Crystal here as well, who's going to explain this more in depth, but we have an amendment here to the motion. So before we discuss that, does anyone want to support Commissioner Wallace's amendment?
I'll support it for discussion purposes.
Very well. Crystal, can you explain the resolution a little bit more in detail?
Sure. So Commissioner Song is correct. That first paragraph is the request exactly as it came before you in May. So it's just a copy and paste of that. The rest of the whereas paragraphs are just facts, background, information, importance of the project. The actual board action starts at the now therefore be it resolved. So that first paragraph supports the concept of the project. The next paragraph is the actual budget amendment today, and that transfers all of the federal and state funds, which you'll notice there is where the state revenue has been adjusted to the $40 million. And then the general fund portion would be the $2.1 million that was identified in the phased spending plan. It's also attached to your agenda item that was provided by the executive's office for this year. Now, we did work with finance on those numbers, and they did confirm that that's a balanced budget amendment. And then the next paragraph states that the board will consider the future budget amendments to fund this project, similar to how you do for other capital projects as they get ready to do the work and have the contracts. And then the final paragraph just states that the agenda item submission process has to be followed in the contracting ordinance for that.
Okay. Commissioner Wallace, do you have any questions for Crystal? You're up. You still have the floor.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Commissioner Haw.
Are we speaking to the amendment proposal?
Theoretically, yes.
Thank you. I appreciate Commissioner Wallace's input into the resolution to change it. We have spent probably over a year, and I know Commissioner Perna has indicated this issue has been going on for approximately 20 years. And we have gotten confirmation on all of these numbers, not only through finance, but through our own finance chair on working to put together the most reasonable resolution that could have taken place. So in that case, I am therefore opposed to the amendment. Thank you.
Commissioner Song?
A withdrawal.
Any other speakers on the amendment? Okay. I just want to say this in regards to Commissioner Wallace's amendment here. I do support the actual amendment. I think maybe what she's trying to establish is clarity here, because we see big numbers at the top of the resolution, but then we see different numbers as it's being resolved later in the resolution. So my understanding of this and what I'm supporting here today would be that the general fund dollars that will be allocated towards this project over the course of the next 5 years will be approximately $25 million. Obviously, they're looking for 2.1 million or 2.2 million in this fiscal year. The difference would then be allocated per the chart over the next 4 years then following. I am not supporting a $35 million contingency in this project going forward. I know that was presented to us. I'm just making that very, very clear. In regards to that, I think everything else, though, is in the resolution. So I just wanted to state that on the record here today. We will vote on the amendment.
Chime in just if you don't mind. So you're indicating that the cash flow projections indicate 25 million of general fund money over the course of the project?
Correct.
And if I look at it, I'm looking at more like 48 million.
Well, that's what we just discussed, Steve, with Crystal, and she said that we're allocating 2.1. That's what Commissioner Wallace. Correct. And then the difference would be the 25 off of the $25 million. I think that's what Commissioner Wallace's question was, specific to Crystal. So you may be saying something different than what Crystal is saying. I think that's where the clarity is being asked here.
The thought is that there's only $25 million of general fund money that would need to be provided over the course of the project, and that's not the case.
Okay, what is that number?
It would be the 98, well, what we originally requested, which was 49 million, I believe. But if you look at the cash flow, we're talking about $98,872,000 between general fund and the state of Michigan. So there's 40 million from the state, so you'd be at 48,872,749 over the course of the project.
So where is that? Is that in the resolution, Steve, specifically?
No, because it was reduced down to 2.1 million, which was the current year cash flow projection.
Okay, so I think that's where there's a little confusion here.
Crystal, why don't you?
Is it because you're reducing the contingencies from that total dollar amount that Steve is talking about for the future? I think that's where the confusion is.
It's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not reducing the contingencies necessarily.
So is the contingency built into this resolution, or is it not?
No.
It is not. Okay, so the numbers that we're looking at right now in this resolution do not include a $35 million contingency.
Right. That's correct. It's just providing $2.2 million of general fund for 2023. We'd have to come back for budget amendments or budget adoptions for 24 for more dollars to fund expenditures in every year thereafter until the project's completed, which is really, I would say, is not the ideal way to fund a project of this size, for sure. That's why we were asking for the entire 49 million up front, so when we don't have to try to budget cash flow, which is, you can imagine, is difficult.
So what you're saying, Steve, is that in order for us to do this project specifically, we would need to take $49 million out of the general fund over the course of the project.
Correct.
In order to fund it.
Right.
See Vicky nodding her head. I'm just laying this out because
And-
there's
and
a
I'm
lot of different.
suggesting and recommending that we do it all at the front end, so we don't have to get into cash flow issues and come back to the board and ask for amendments if we somehow get into a problem where our cash flow projections are off for some reason, or we've had additional, expenses where we had
So
to dip
Steve-
into the contingencies and so on.
Sorry to interrupt you. So in regards to Commissioner Wallace's amendment to this resolution, if her amendment to change the 49 million to $25 million, are you saying, or maybe this is a question for Vicky, because I think Vicky is warranted to come up and talk about this as well, but are we saying that if we change this to $25 million, that we cannot do this project?
So, if I can answer one thing, if you read the first paragraph, it says, whereas the county executive has requested. Those are numbers that we requested. So if you change those numbers, you have to take out county executive requested, because that's not what we requested.
Okay.
So that paragraph, I think, needs to stay the same based on that assumption. So if you move down then to what the board is asking to do, the be it further resolved and the numbers, it's just not standard procedure how we operate with budget amendments and projects, as Steve said. The issue, you can approve it, you can approve the contracts today, and we'll move forward. We will just come back, and then the board, obviously, I know we'll do it on our end. We'll be tracking the project like we would do anyways, and come back like we always do when we have to, according to your policies and procedures. But it's really going to be, I'm going to say, more on this board as decisions are made about general fund dollars or using money out of the fund balance. You really have to have in the back of your mind, you need money for this project. So that's why we ask for the money like we do for any project all up front. It's budgeted. If items come in less, that money goes back to the general fund, or if it's a grant fund, wherever it comes back in. And that's our job, is managing the project, and the team that we have is to come back, give those regular updates, as we said we're gonna do, and give that money back. Like we said, the biggest key is gonna be when the bids come back for the construction, because then we will know, is it over our estimate, again, hopefully not, or is it under our estimate? And depending on how much it's under in those contingencies, at that time, the budget could be adjusted. So it's knowing that money is spoken for, and that's why it's put in the budget amendment. That is our projected cost that, yes, goes into a budget. With the amount you presented today, the 171 million roughly, that doesn't change what we're saying the project is going to cost. Project's still going to cost right now $229 million. In our estimate. So that's what we're focusing on. That's what our contracts today after you are based on, is that amount. And again, as you know from the sheet we provided and the schedule, we're not going to spend all that money in the bulk even of the first 2 years. It's really year 3, 4, and 5.
Thank you for clarifying that. First round still here. Commissioner Nard.
Vicki, I hope you can stay for a moment. I just want to just make sure that I'm clear on what I'm hearing. So this top part, whereas, is what you all have budgeted, and understand that that's what it's going to take to get the project done. And then the be it therefore resolved is what has been reduced to.
Correct, through the board office.
Okay, so even though it's been reduced to this, you're still saying you're still gonna need the top part, so therefore,
Correct.
which will make you have to come back and still ask us for money as opposed to giving you everything you need now so you can work smoothly and that money is already allocated. So if something comes up, we have that money allocated.
Correct, and you yourselves don't have to worry about where we're gonna pull that money from. And we are still going to come back to you with contracts, anything over 35,000, anything based on your contracts and percentages. You know, we're gonna come back with, I think it's monthly project updates. Whether there's an ask or not, you know, there's presentations that'll be made, and, you know, you'll have access, you'll know where the budgets are, you know, where the payments are. You know, we know this is a huge project and that it's a lot of money. So yes, we will be at the top of our game and coming back to you, providing that information, and asking for approvals all along the way.
Okay, but once this is approved, though, you'll be going into the project knowing that actually what you're getting is really not enough. So you already knowing that you're gonna have to come back and continue to access probably what, every 3-4 months or every year?
I mean, I think we've talked about potential options if that's done once a year by the board, if we do it as part of the budget process, you know, so technically when we come back in October, we'll be asking you for, you know, more money, for either next year or again, our preference is like we do for every other project is to have the full amount up front. And then
So
if
you know what you're working
we
with.
give money back, we give money back.
Okay, okay.
Are you set, Commissioner?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yeah, thank you. The question that Commissioner Wallace was trying to address was the contingency. I think that she was trying to deal with. The contingency is the question. And there's really no contingency number that we're trying to reduce, that's correct, right, Chris? That was what we were talking about. Why don't you come up to the... There's no contingency number in here to reduce. There isn't one. So.
That's what I was in there.
Understand. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So Commissioner Wallace, I think what they're saying is that the top portion or the top paragraph cannot be changed. It's what the county executive is asking for, so we cannot change that. I think it's just been confirmed. Commissioner Haw, second round.
Thank you, Chair. I guess I also want to point out, in our conversations with the state of Michigan to obtain $40 million from them, asking 50, so we're not done asking, we presented a proposal to them indicating the commitment by the county in order for them to buy into giving us $40 million. Am I correct?
Yes.
So if we sit here today and change, what was the commitment to the state, and do we risk having them change their commitment? We've already got it. We don't want to do anything that jeopardizes losing it. And we've also indicated in our budgetary process that we would have a line item called Intake Center, almost called it a jail, Tony. And that would be monitored and approved by us annually as we move through what I was told could ultimately be a 5-year project. So the checks and balances are there. The commitment by the county is what got us the $40 million with the intent to go back and try to get more at a later date. And we built in the checks and balances, so I don't see us micromanaging this project as a precedent establishing protocol that we've not done with any other project. So again, I'm opposed to the amendment. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Kraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Vicki, real quick with the grant dollars. Those weren't matching dollars, right? That was literally an appropriation from the state for $40 million for this project. That didn't come with any strings of the county has to put in X amount of dollars, correct?
Without having an official grant agreement in hand,
can't be 100% sure, but no, but again, it was
It's just,
asked based on.
sure, and it's
funding
my
sources.
understanding that it was an appropriation in the state budget, just stating, Macomb County is getting this for the project, and we're not putting $0 behind this project as a county. I just wanted to make the point that we don't have to have our 40 matching the state's 40 to create 80 to enable us to use that funding. Thank you.
I have not heard that. No.
Okay, thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Chair. I have no issue removing my amendment to the resolution if Commissioner Kraft agrees. I just wanted to make sure I understood, which I do, and thank you, Chair, for breaking it down to a better understanding for me. My whole issue was with the contingency dollars. It's the whole project is large, and I have absolutely no issue with giving to this project as a county, because the state has come through and gave funds as well. I don't think that we should come and say, no, we're not giving anything. So I'm not saying that at all. That was never said or mentioned. I was very clear and have been very clear what my issues are. So I don't have a problem removing my amendment if Commissioner Kraft second.
That's fine with me.
Back to the initial motion to recommend this to full board. Any other questions specific to any other parts of the resolution? I know Commissioner Song.
Thank you, Chair. So I commend the state legislature for appropriating the $40 million. Really happy for the county because I think that was a major win. And Vicki, I think you do a phenomenal job. We're so lucky to have you. I've spoken in length about my thoughts regarding this project, and when I think of what Commissioner Miller said when she came on the podium about these large-scale projects and being generational and transformational, I just don't feel that this project is it. Overall, I feel that we spend a lot of money on law enforcement, and so I can't support this project and the resolution. Just wanted to share that. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we're still on, this is first round for the actual motion, so Commissioner Hall.
Thank you again, Chair. In today's article in the Detroit News, one of the headlines read, Detroit police responding to a record average of 40 mental health runs per day. I don't know if anybody watched Channel 4 last night when two Warren police officers talked a mentally ill teenager down who had a 9mm pistol to his head with his hand on the trigger. The need is apparent. We have debated this back and forth. I would like every police officer that supports this proposal in the audience to please stand up. Thank you. That's a lot of badges in this room for obvious, apparent reasons, thank you, why they think this is needed. I keep going back to Commissioner Perna's statements, and thank you for them, Jim. This has been an issue for 20 years. This is it's not a complete solution to a problem, but it's the beginning of a solution to a problem. I go to Commissioner Miller's statement as well. This is transitionally changing the way we police in Macomb County. It's a need, it's there, and I said it during the debate last time, those sheriffs are our police department for Macomb County. Local millages pass for local police departments. They're our police departments. If for no other reason, the condition that they work in, for us that went on that tour, is deplorable. You cannot expect people to go to work and pull 12 and 13-hour shifts in an environment where you've got cement falling from the ceiling, pipes leaking, let alone putting their own lives in risk every day. So for me, this is a no-brainer. I realize it's a lot of money. I said it before. Would I like to spend it elsewhere? Yes. Do we need to spend it here? Yes. You have my full support on this resolution. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is just another piece of the giant puzzle involving mental health, law enforcement, everything we do in this county. And Dave Pangatai is here, Helen Klinger's here from CMH, Commissioner Wallace and I sit on that board. Our folks in law enforcement, our friends in law enforcement, we're trying to do everything we can for folks with mental health crises, whether it's before they get to our doorstep or it's when they're inside our building or heading out the door so we don't see them again. This is all a part of those wraparound services that we keep talking about, that we're building towards. And at CMH, that's what we're doing. We're building, every day we're building more services, we're finding more partners, more providers to help us. Now we need to help our law enforcement friends to help us. And Sheriff and I, we've gone back and forth on projects like this over the years. I'm supportive of this project as it is. I think it's going to be transformative. That's what these dollars are for. And from a fiscal conservative standpoint, we have money from all of our partners. We're not bonding, so we're not using money to spend on interest rates. We're not going to the voters for a millage to raise taxes. We're using what we have, the resources that we have. And I want to thank the executive's office and the sheriff, your whole team, for getting us those numbers, for staff numbers. That was important to me because once we have the brick and mortar in place, we need programs, we need staff. These are legacy costs. But I've had my frustrations and my concerns tampered a bit by responses from your team. So I want to thank you for that. I will be voting for this project, and I look forward to seeing this come to us throughout the years. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you to the whole team. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you. I think the intake center is something that's long overdue, but we have a lot of smart people in the room. The problem I have with it is the 35 million contingency. I think the smart people in the room can come up with a better estimate where we don't have contingencies and we know what we're doing up front. Over 15% contingency seems ludicrous to me with the people in the room who know what they're doing. Can't get this a little bit tighter. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Perna.
I know there's a lot of commissioners here that have been bombarded with requests to do it or not do it. And I'm for it, but I think we all need to know that we have a lot of seniors, we have a lot of vets, we have a lot of homeless, that we, the commissioners, could direct some of our monies towards those individuals. But in hindsight now, we're saying, you know what? We need to start to correct the problem now. We're not going to ignore the seniors or the homeless or the vets that are entitled to get the same benefits that we're going to give now to those that are incarcerated now. If we have a lot of seniors that don't have air conditioning and don't have 3 meals a day and don't have an employment, not that we're going to give this to the jail inmates, but we are not going to lose sight that we are not going to give up on those seniors, those homeless, those vets. So we need to know and tell the public that we're not ignoring their request. This is something we need to do to correct the future. And really, this is a start to correct the future. As Commissioner Hall said, this has been going on for 20 years when I was a commissioner back in the late 90s, that we need to address it. We are late, but we're doing it. So I just need to express that. Thank you.
Commissioner Lucido.
Thank you. I've gone back and forth in regards to the Central Intake Center. I do realize the need for the intake center, and I am very thankful that the state has allocated $40 million for us to move forward with this project. With that said, my biggest concern is that we really need to start focusing on the aftercare after they leave this intake center. When they're going back into society and they are on their own, we need to make sure if we move forward with doing this intake center and we're being able to give them those services while they're with us, that they have services when they leave also, so they're not returning to us. And I think that that is something that's really important, and moving forward, if we do end up passing this today, that we really start taking a serious look on how we can support the community out there to make sure that those services are available. That's all.
Commissioner Brown.
I agree with Commissioner Lucido and all the commissioners. This is a start. This is the start of something revolutionary and innovative. This is going to be the model program for the nation, quite frankly, because of what we're doing here by getting people help at the front end if they have to be in our jail and on the way out the door, as Commissioner Kraft said. Mental health is a crisis in this country, and our county is stepping forward to do the right thing. We're doing the solution that's needed, that's demanded by the public, to do something about it. We've got all the partners involved in this project. We're going to reach out for more. I know the county executive and others are trying to ask for more money. I wrote to our federal delegation asking for them to join with us on our innovative solutions. The administration has interest in this program and what they're doing. I'm going to NACO this week, and I'm meeting with team members from their administration to talk about what we're doing and try to get interest in our program and interest in supporting the funding of it, as well as our congressional delegation. I wrote to Senator Peters, Senator Stabenow, Senator Representative James, as well as McLean, asking them to join with us and support this transformational program we're doing for law enforcement. What we're going to be doing is building an opportunity for us to, when we apprehend somebody in the street, to give them the help that they need, mental health, so they don't repeat the crime. Because as it is now, these addicts and drug addicts come in our facility, they don't get the treatment they need, and then they're eventually released, and they go out and prey on the public again. It's an never-ending circle. We're trying to do what we can to stop it by intervening with mental health services to stop and block it, to stop them from getting out and causing more crime. Let them be productive people, turn them into productive human beings. And we're starting it by this project because it's our constitutional responsibility to make sure that jail is maintained, as well as laying the seeds for prevention for the future, so that we can turn this tide of senseless violence around, because people have addiction problems and other mental health problems that are going unattended. There's plenty of need out there, but with the additional partners that we're going to bring to this subject as a result of our initiative, we're going to start building things out. The JJC, we're considering building out, so we've got more facilities, more capacity to deal with mental health people. The creative ideas about having mental health responders like ambulances responding to scenes of crimes are a possibility now. We can get them out there and help them out, help put people in the street to help out in the front end, as well as during the commission of a crime or an incident going on. So we're doing something revolutionary, and you're all to be commended. It's a lot of money. It's the most money I've ever appropriated on this board in my long tenure, but it's necessary, and it shows leadership, and it's leadership what the public wants. They want us to do something, and it's not the whole answer, but it's the beginning, and we're going in the right direction, my friends, and you're all to be commended for this and taking a tough vote, and I thank you for that, and I'm looking forward to the future. It's all not 100% crystal clear what it's going to be, but it's going to build. It's going to build with the partners we're bringing to the bear on this, from the federal level, from the state level, from us here at the county, and from our local communities for that matter, the local law enforcement agencies that are out there every day on the street. And we're doing the right thing, the responsible thing. And the best news is we don't have to raise any additional tax dollars to do this. Yeah, there's tax dollars being spent, but it's already been raised. It's already been taken from the taxpayer. We're doing it now with our existing cash flow. We don't have to raise taxes to do this. And that's good news for the taxpayer. So I'm appreciative of this and this initiative. it's a culmination of many years of effort, quite frankly, and we're glad to have it. So I'm anxious for the vote, and let's get on with the project. Take care. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mark, did you want to say something?
Right, thank you, Commissioners. I have a tendency to look at things in a simplistic fashion, and based on my experience in my previous career, I was involved in probably about $700 million of new construction and renovations in school districts here in this region. To the concern that some of you have about the contingency is too much, contingency is often, it's always a percentage of what the construction project is. We have all done projects at our home when we were given a price, and then the contractor runs into something that they didn't expect, and it ends up costing us more. We have smart people in this room. And some of these people have been on the team that the sheriff and the executive put together for over 5 years working on that jail. Nobody knows the jail better than Partners in Architecture, the people that we are recommending have a contract approved by them tonight. If they say the contingency needs to be 15%, I trust them. Sounds like a lot of money, but it's better than taking $35 million out and coming back to you for every dollar, and then the public's perception is cost overruns and everything else. There's contingency built into every single project that I've ever been involved with. The higher the construction number, the higher the dollar amount of the contingency. But we do have smart people on this team. Otherwise, we wouldn't have brought them forward here tonight. And in terms of some of the commissioners being confused about where the money's coming from, really all we're asking, and again, I try to keep it simple, all we're asking is that you commit to doing this project, which is estimated today at $228 million. How it gets spent and where we draw that money from is going to be the responsibility of our program manager and our business office. And if you approve a contract for an architect today for $10 million, we're not writing them a check for $10 million today or any time in the future. When they complete 10% of the work and they've proved it to the team, that's how much we're going to pay them, 10% of the contract. And we only draw down based on the portion of work that's completed. So we're just asking, you know that we have to draw down that ARP money by the end of 26, and I think that we provided the board a schedule of, what years most of the ARP money would be spent, and it's going to be heavy the first couple of years because we have to spend it all by the end of 26. But let the experts determine what pots of money it comes from. We're just asking that the Board of Commissioners commit to doing this central intake and assessment center. Thank you.
Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. My hope for the intake center is that the citizens, the people that are brought there, that again, as I've heard from our other commissioners, as they get the help and they continue to get the help, that's of course paramount, that this will unite families, bring families back together. Of course, we all know the family is the cornerstone of society. We need the families to be united. So I hope this really is helpful and beneficial as I expect it will be. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. I was the maker of the motion. I supported this from the beginning. I supported this when all the discussion came about, and we had some healthy discussion. Commissioner Kraft had a lot of questions, and I remember that. And as he spoke today, and he said he had a lot of those questions answered. He had all of those questions answered. And I'm going to support this at the end. Public safety, all of us commissioners here, that's what we're looking for, public safety for all of our residents. And for them to have a situation where they have to be incarcerated and then released without any type of training at all, without any type of mental, people coming talking to them in their capacity. I think it's so wrong for us. We've got an opportunity here, and that's why I've been supporting this right along. But again, as I said, public safety for us, for our residents, it's always been number one. For me, it has anyway, and I think I speak for our commissioners too. We want our residents to be safe. This is a great start for it. I supported it, as I said, when it started. I supported it with all the questions, and I'm now supporting it in the end. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seeing no other speakers, I just want to say a couple things. There's three things relative to these projects that we're doing here. One we just passed, specifically to infrastructure. This item specifically identifying public safety and public health. What I think the public needs to understand here too is that the money that we're receiving from the federal government is restricted to specific things. So we did have a very long list of items that we went through to identify what would be the best project that was brought to us by the executive. And, this is what the executive is recommending to this board. Thank you to the state for the $40 million. I think that is a huge number, but we still need more. As many commissioners have already said, we're not raising our taxes. We're paying cash for this. And that's really because we've managed our money well. We're able to do this. If we had to borrow money, if we had to bond, if we had to do anything in that arena, I wouldn't be supporting this. So today I'm going to support this for that specific reason that we are solving problems. We're not solving them 100%, but we're going in the right direction to get to that solution. And I think between all of our partners in this, whether it's the federal government, whether it's the state, we obviously have a lot of law enforcement here today supporting this, so I think this is the right decision. I've thought about this a very, very long time. I've been on this board for a number of years. I know we've talked about that campus there and how we can better it. There's been discussions back and forth for years, and as Commissioner Perna said, decades, it seems like. So this is the right decision. I know we have smart people in this room. I know they're going to do a great job on this. And I think at the end of this, I'm hopeful that we've got a great story that Macomb County can shine with. So seeing no other speakers on this, we have a motion on the floor to recommend to full board. Please vote.
Motion passes 11-2. Commissioners Wallace and Song voting no.
Next item is item 9D. This is agreement amendment number 2, Partners in Architecture for the Central Intake and Assessment Center in the amount of $10,370. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
So move, Hall.
Move. Made by Haw, supported by Perna. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 12-1. Commissioner Song voting no.
Next item is 9E. This is a proposal with Plante Moran Cresa owner representation services for the Macomb County Central Intake and Assessment Center project in the amount of $4,800,000. Need a motion to recommend this to full board.
So move, Hall.
Support Nard.
Moved by Haw, supported by Nard. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-1. Commissioner Song voting no.
Next item is item F, agreement with Metro Technology Services IT for the Central Intake and Assessment Center project in the amount of $1,014,380. Need a motion to recommend this to full board.
So moved by Nard.
Support.
Moved by Nard, supported by Haw. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-1. Commissioner Song voting no.
Okay, next item is correspondence, 10A and B. I'll take a motion to receive and file correspondence items 10A and 10B for open bids as of 7/18/2023 and UHY LLP CPA pre-letter dated June 1st, 2023.
So moved by Nard.
Support Lucido.
Moved by Nard, supported by Lucido. Seeing no questions, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Next item is public participation. This is the opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any issue.
I just wanted to jump up before you moved on, but you moved very quickly because, you know, the Public Works Commissioner got an opportunity to speak on her project. So I just would like to thank the board. For those of you, I know this is a very tough decision. I know it's a lot of money, but, you know, for 38 years I've been at that building and I know all the issues that go on in there. And it is time to make change. And what you did today is moving us forward to make that change. It's going to make the sheriff's office a better place, a better place for the employees to work. It is going to be a safer community. It's going to support everybody that's behind me in law enforcement here in Macomb County. So with that, I would just like to thank you for your support on this project. And I look forward to getting it going and being back in front of you and explaining how things are going and being around when we cut the ribbon. So, thank you.
Chair, if I may?
You may.
Thank you. You know, he thanked us, but I think we as commissioners should also thank them for their patience. It's our duty to be testy. I guess that's a correct word to use, testy and inquisitive, and to see how the money is being spent. And I know a lot of commissioners asked that question, and a lot of them were testy. On both ends, we were both testy. But we came to a resolution now today that is going to benefit all of us. And I just want to thank you people in general, from myself, and I'm sure from the board, for going along with us and keeping up with us and answering all those questions. That's all I have, Chair. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to speak? Going once, twice. We'll close public participation. Next item is commissioner comments.
All bashful.
Wow.
Just one.
Joe always has something to say.
You did come up with one.
I will not recognize you at this time, Commissioner Romano.
I got to tell you a short story, and I'm going to end this with a laugh, hopefully. I was scammed. Everybody hears about getting scammed. Now, I pride myself on the fact that I could never get scammed, neither by phone, by emails, by text. Romano can't be scammed. This was the call I received from Macomb County. Commissioner Romano, your request for time off has been denied.
I got the same one.
We all got it, probably.
So now I said, wait a minute. I'm an elected official. I'm not an employee of the county. I didn't ask for any time off. So what would you do if you received that email?
Delete it.
You deleted it. I opened it. The next message I got was from Jacob's office. It said, guess what? You've been fished and you apply to it. Be careful next time. Just a word to the wise. I thought it was pretty funny. That's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Jacob, thank you for sending
Yeah,
that
I know
email
I was
specifically
easy.
to Commissioner Romano. We appreciate that. Seeing no other speakers.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Made by Romano, supported by Hall. Please vote. Enjoy the rest of your day, Commissioners.